Daniel, Marcus, and Elena had been running a small urban exploration channel for almost a year. Most of their videos were harmless. Abandoned schools, empty apartments, old factories outside small towns. Nothing paranormal had ever happened to them before, but their audience loved places with dark histories. That's how they discovered GREYFORD Hospital. The building sat deep in the woods, nearly 20 miles away from the nearest town. It had been abandoned since the late 1980s, after a fire killed several patients during the night shift. Official records blamed faulty wiring. But online rumors told a different story. Former workers claimed strange things happened on the third floor, weeks before the fire started. Patients complained about hearing voices in empty rooms. Nurses reported people walking through hallways, even after entire sections had been locked down. According to local stories, Room 306 was permanently sealed 2 days before the hospital shut down. Nobody knew why. Marcus found an old forum post written by someone claiming they once worked there. The post ended with one sentence: "If you hear the intercom turn on, leave immediately." Of course, they thought it was fake. And that's exactly why they decided to spend the night inside the hospital, recording a special overnight episode for their channel. At first, the night inside GREYFORD Hospital felt disappointing. The building was quieter than they expected. No voices, no movement, just the sound of their footsteps echoing through long, dark hallways. Daniel filmed most of the exploration, while Marcus carried extra batteries, and Elena checked old patient rooms for anything interesting. Around 1:40 a.m., they reached the second floor. That's when Elena noticed the first strange thing. Every clock they found inside the hospital had stopped at exactly 2:13. Wall clocks, broken wristwatches, even an old surgery timer near the operating room. All frozen at the same time. Marcus joked that maybe the hospital lost power at 2:13, the night of the fire. But Elena didn't laugh. She said something felt wrong about the place. As they continued exploring, Daniel started hearing noises through his camera headphones. Soft coughing, weak and uneven. At first, he assumed it was one of his friends. But every time he removed the headphones, the sound disappeared completely. Then came the elevator. Even though the building had no electricity, they heard the old elevator moving somewhere above them. A loud metallic grinding sound, slowly traveling between floors. They all heard it. Marcus even pointed his flashlight toward the elevator doors at the end of the hallway. The floor indicator above it suddenly lit up red. 3. Then, the doors slowly opened. Inside was complete darkness. Nothing else? No movement, no sound. But the smell that came from inside was horrible. Like something rotten, left trapped for years. That was the moment Elena wanted to leave. But Marcus refused. He had become strangely obsessed with reaching the third floor after seeing the elevator stop there. His behavior started changing after that. He stopped joking around, stopped answering questions properly. Several times, Daniel caught Marcus staring silently down empty hallways, as if he was listening to someone they couldn't hear. Then, around 2:50 a.m., Daniel checked the camera timestamp. Almost 3 hours of footage were completely missing. None of them remembered losing that time. After discovering the missing footage, the atmosphere inside the hospital changed completely. Nobody said it out loud, but all 3 of them were scared now. Daniel suggested leaving immediately. Elena agreed, but Marcus refused again. He kept insisting they were close to finding something. Something about the way he said it made Daniel uncomfortable. It didn't even sound like Marcus anymore. His voice had become strangely calm, almost emotionless. Then Daniel noticed blood on Marcus's sleeve. Not a lot. Just small dark stains near his wrist. When Daniel asked where it came from, Marcus quickly pulled his arm away and said he scraped himself on exposed metal. But a few minutes later, Daniel saw fresh scratch marks appearing on Marcus's neck. Long, thin marks, like fingernails. Elena saw them too. That's when she finally snapped and demanded they leave the building. Marcus suddenly became aggressive. He started shouting at her for no reason, accusing her of ruining the video, accusing Daniel of being weak. The argument echoed through the hallway until the hospital intercom suddenly crackled to life above them. All three froze instantly. For several seconds, only static filled the hallway. Then a woman's voice spoke calmly through the speakers. "Patient transfer to room 306 is now in progress." The message repeated again, and again, and again. Every light on the third floor flickered on at the exact same moment. That's when Marcus began walking toward room 306. Slowly, without saying a word. Daniel grabbed his shoulder and tried pulling him back. Marcus stopped moving, but when he turned around, Daniel felt his stomach drop. Marcus was crying, tears running down his face. Yet he was smiling at the same time. Then he whispered something Daniel would never forget. "She's been talking to me since we entered the hospital." And before anyone could react, the door to room 306 slowly opened by itself. The inside of room 306 looked completely different from the rest of the hospital. There was no dust, no broken furniture, no signs of decay. The room looked almost active. An old heart monitor beside the bed was still running, producing a slow, rhythmic beep, despite the hospital having no electricity. Elena immediately backed away, but Marcus walked inside without hesitation. Daniel kept filming, though his hands were shaking badly now. That's when they noticed the woman sitting beside the hospital bed. At first, Daniel thought she was a mannequin. She wore an old nurse uniform burned black around the edges, and her head remained tilted downward, so her face couldn't be seen. Marcus slowly approached her. Then the heart monitor suddenly began beeping faster. The woman's head twitched violently, not naturally, like something was forcing her bones to move. Daniel grabbed Marcus and screamed for him to run, but Marcus wouldn't move. He just stood there, staring at the nurse, smiling again. Then the woman finally lifted her head. Her eyes were completely white, and her mouth was stitched shut with thick black thread. Elena screamed. The hospital lights instantly went dark. For several seconds, Daniel could hear nothing except the sound of breathing very close beside him. Not in front of him. Beside him. Then the lights flickered back on. Marcus was gone. Only his camera remained on the floor, still recording. Daniel picked it up and looked at the screen. The footage showed Marcus standing in the hallway moments earlier. Alone. Talking to someone. But in the recording, room 306 had never been opened at all. Daniel and Elena ran out of GREYFORD Hospital less than 10 minutes later. Neither of them spoke during the drive back. Elena kept crying quietly in the passenger seat, while Daniel replayed the footage over and over, trying to understand what had happened to Marcus. But the deeper they checked the recordings, the worse things became. Almost every file from inside room 306 was corrupted. Audio distortion, static, black frames, except for one clip recorded near the end. The video lasted only 14 seconds. It showed Daniel and Elena running down the third-floor hallway toward the stairs. Marcus was nowhere in sight. But just before the clip ended, someone slowly stepped out from inside room 306 and watched them leave. A nurse wearing burned clothing, white eyes, stitched mouth, standing perfectly still. The police searched the hospital 2 days later after Daniel reported Marcus missing. They found nothing inside the building. No blood, no body, no signs anyone else had ever been there. Officially, Marcus was declared missing 3 months later. Daniel never uploaded the footage, and according to Elena, he completely stopped speaking about GREYFORD Hospital after that night. But nearly a year later, someone anonymously posted a short video online from an account nobody could trace. The clip was recorded inside room 306. The camera slowly pointed toward a dirty hospital mirror hanging on the wall, and written across the glass in fresh, wet handwriting were 5 words. He never left the hospital. But the detail that terrified Daniel the most wasn't the message. It was the timestamp in the corner of the video. 2:13 a.m., recorded 3 weeks after Marcus disappeared.